All right, guys, it's 7:30. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Will clerk please read the roll?
Tracy, you're muted.
Mr. Amrine,
Here.
Mr. De Leon,
Here.
Mr. Ferrara,
Here.
do I hear Mr. Ferrara?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Kuhar,
Here.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Here.
Ms. Schaefer,
Here.
Mr. Sidoti,
Here.
Mr. Turner,
Here.
and Ms. Wallach.
Here.
Okay, we have opening remarks by Mr. Turner with the Pledge of Allegiance.
No opening remarks. Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
Liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Liberty
Thank
and
you.
justice for all.
Thank you, Robin.
Certainly, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the July 15th, 2020 meeting, please.
Second motion.
Second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That passes. Public comment, is there anything, Amy?
There's no public comment.
All right, written communications, please.
A liquor license transfer request from Paying It Forward LLC to Umbrian Hills LLC, 405 East Main Street, Kent, was received July 27th, 2020. Chief Shearer had no objections.
Move to approve with no objections.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Further, Amy?
Civil Service Commission meeting agenda for July 20th was received on July 17th, 2020. A resignation letter from Brian Gray from the Portage Area Regional Transit Authority Board effective July 16th, 2020. Civil service exam notice for the secretary to the chief of police position was received on July 21st, 2020. A letter from Richard and Elizabeth Pryor of 233 Columbus Street regarding Kent State students returning in the enforcement of large gatherings was received and forwarded to council on August 3rd, 2020. Standing Rock meeting minutes from July 9th and agenda for August 13th were received on July 29th, 2020. A letter from Sally Burnell to city council members regarding rent controlled housing was received on August 4th, 2020. Planning Commission agenda and staff report for the August 18th meeting was received on August 7th. And then communication received after the agenda was posted. I received the Parks and Recreation minutes from July 16th and the agenda for August 20th. I received those both on August 13th.
Okay, thank you. City manager's report, Mr. Amroy.
I'd move items 1 through 11 on the city manager's report.
Second.
Second by Amy, or no, Heidi. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Aye.
Moving into standing committees, committee of the whole, I need a motion for the committee meeting of August 5th.
I move approval of those meeting minutes.
Second.
Second by John Kuhar. Is there any discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I need a motion for the action for the Kent school system.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you, that passes. We're gonna get into voting for the boards and commissions. Does everybody have their material in front of them?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the one vacancy for the Board of Building Appeal. Is there a motion out there?
You're on the building appeals or I would move David Soknick.
Second.
Second by Tracy. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. For the Board of Health, we have one vacancy. Is there a motion from the floor?
Yeah,
Go, Tracy.
I'd like to make a motion to have Louise Frederick appointed again.
All right,
I'll second that.
second by Mike. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That passes. Thank you. The Fair Housing Board, we have one vacancy. Is there a motion from the floor?
Make a motion to approve Andrea Blackwood.
Second.
Second by Tracy. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That passes. Thank you. Need a motion for the Parking Action Committee. There's actually 3 vacancies, but there was one applicant. Is there a motion from the floor?
Make a motion for William Arthur.
Second.
Second by Heidi. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. That passes. Portage Area Region Transit Authority, we have 2 vacancies. Is there a motion from the floor?
Move.
I'll make a motion for Karen Beck.
So I did one for Karen. You did one for Karen, so one of us seconds it.
We're just doing Karen, or you want to do both of them?
Just do one.
All right.
Second.
So the motion is for Karen Beck.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, we need a motion for the other vacancy.
I need to abstain,
I
Jerry.
thought there was only one vacancy.
There
Well,
are
if you
2.
read it, it
There's
says
2.
2 vacancies, John.
Yeah, there was a mistake on it last time.
Okay, okay. I make a motion for Jack Murphy.
Second.
Second, was that you, Robin? Second by Robin?
Yes.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
One abstention from Jack. All right, thank you.
Hey, Jerry, I abstain from Karen as well.
That's understood, Jack. All right, now I need a motion for the slate of the new board and commission members to be placed in the drafts, proper drafts.
So moved.
John?
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Who opposed? All right, it passes. With that said, would the clerk read draft number 2020-71 in title only?
Draft number 2020-71, a resolution appointing David Salkinek to the Board of Building Appeals and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Move suspension.
Who seconds it?
John.
John?
John did.
Mike, did you make the motion?
Yes.
All right,
Backwards.
please call the roll. Please call the roll for suspension.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll for, and does anybody object to anything on this? See no objection or discussion. Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Garrett.
He's frozen.
Yes.
Frozen, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I hear
Yes.
ya. Okay. Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach.
yes,
Okay, resolution 2020-71 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-72 in title only?
Draft 2020-72, a resolution appointing Louise Frederick to the Board of Health and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
and Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Move
Adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
and Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Resolution 2020-72 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-73 in title only?
Draft number 2020-73, a resolution appointing Andrea Blackwood to the Fair Housing Board and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Ferrara,
Simba, no,
Yes.
Simba,
Mr.
no,
Kuhar,
no,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
boy,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
and Mr. De Leon.
Yes.
Resolution 2020-73 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-74 in title only?
Draft number 2020-74, a resolution appointing William Arthur to the Parking Action Committee and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
and Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
and Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 2020-74 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-75 in title only?
Draft number 2020-75, a resolution appointing Jack Murphy to the Portage Area Regional Transit Authority Board and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amorang,
Abstain.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
yes,
and Mr. Kuhar.
yes. Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance?
No, sir.
Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amorang,
Abstain.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
yes,
Mr. Kuhar.
Yes,
Okay, Resolution 2020-75 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-76 in title only?
Draft number 2020-76, a resolution appointing Karen Beck to the Portage Area Regional Transit Authority Board and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
second,
Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amorang,
Abstain.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
yes,
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
and Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes. Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amorang,
Abstain.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
yes,
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
and Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 2020-76 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-77 in title only?
Draft number 2020-77, a resolution supporting the request of the Kent City School District to the Civil Service Commission of the City of Kent to take appropriate steps to empower the Kent City School District to handle matters related to civil and classified service positions with the Kent City School District and declaring an emergency.
no, no,
Who made the motion?
We haven't had one yet.
Oh, okay.
Move suspension.
Second.
All right. Gwen seconded it. Please call the roll for suspension.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes.
Mr.
Why
Amorang,
now? Why now?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
yes,
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
and Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Move approval.
Who's seconding it?
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on adopting this?
yes.
Seeing none, please call the roll.
I have.
Go ahead, John.
I'm gonna oppose it like I did before. I think it takes away some of the transparency of the positions. You know, I think there should be an outside voice, however you want to put it, in this type of a process.
Understand. Anybody else? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
No.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes,
Mr. Amorang,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
yes,
Mr. Kuhar,
No,
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
and Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-77 has passed.
Okay, thank you. That's it for committee of the whole. We're gonna move in, community development, Mr. Kuhar.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I ask a question? Is the position of resignee Brian Gray being filled tonight, or is
Yes.
that being filled?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Go ahead, John.
I would move the committee meeting minutes approved of August 5th, 2020, and the two actions.
There a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Jack.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-78 in title only?
Draft number 2020-78, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute an agreement with Brownfield Restoration Group, BRG, to complete the underground storage tank remediation at 301 West Main Street, former World Import Site, as required by the Department of Commerce, Division of State Fire Marshal, Bureau of Underground Storage Tank Regulations, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Ivy. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara, yes,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-78 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-79 in title only?
Draft number 2020-79, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with KMPH Real Estate LLC and MC Automotive Inc., also known as Montrose Mazda, providing for a project and real property tax exemption pursuant to the Ohio Community Reinvestment Area Program and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension. Or second.
All right. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-79 is passed.
That completes community development.
Health and Public Safety, Mr. Amrine.
Yes, I'd like to move the, from the special committee on July 15th, 2020, and the committee meeting on August 5th, 2020, and the one action recommended.
Second.
Second by John Kuhar. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-80 in title only?
Draft number 2020-80, a resolution adopting a health equity in all policies approach to public policy that intentionally considers the health impact of all proposed legislation and regulations prior to their implementation and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll.
Mr. Hammerine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar? Oh, you're muted.
John, unmute yourself.
Uh-oh.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go. Okay, Ms.
Say yes.
Rosenberg? Oh.
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wallach?
yes,
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Hammerine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wallach?
yes,
Okay, resolution 2020-80 has passed.
Okay, that's all for health and safety. Land use, Mr. Ferrera.
Unmute yourself,
you're
Gary.
muted.
Thank you. Thank you. I would approve
Make the motion.
the minutes of August 5th and the
You're muted again.
Unmute yourself, Garrett. Now try that again. No, you're muted again.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I would approve move to approve the committee minutes of August 5th, 2020, and the one action recommended to authorize the acceptance of the proposed land donation on Fairchild Avenue.
For a second,
Second.
Second.
second by Heidi. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-81 in title only?
Draft number 2020-81, an ordinance accepting a donation of a parcel of land 0.377 acres located on Fairchild Avenue, adjacent to Forest Lakes Recreational Area, praised in the amount of $9,100 to the City of Kent Parks and Recreation Department from Bill Arthur, Trans Ohio Properties, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Suspension.
Second.
Second by Heidi. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Garrett,
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Ferrera.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
yes,
And Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Move
move
adoption.
adoption, second,
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
I love this meeting.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Where'd he go?
Uh-oh. We lost him.
Yes.
On that Porsche again.
Wait, Garrett, I'll run down the street and try and help you. Go on,
Should I
Roger.
wait?
Keep going.
Around them.
Okay, Mr. Kumar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
and Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Without Mr. Farrar's vote, the ordinance passes.
Okay, thank you. That's it for land use. There's nothing on the sidewalks. Finance Committee, Mr. DeLeon.
I'd like to move the committee meeting from August 5th, 2020, and the 3 actions recommended.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. That passes with the clerk. But somebody saying something? Robin?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, all right. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-82 in title only?
Draft number 2020-82, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to approve and execute an amendment to the memorandum of understanding between the city of Kent, Ohio, and the Kent City Board of Education regarding the school resource officer program, extending this agreement until May 27th, 2021, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll for suspension.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
and Mr. De Leon.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Bless you.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
and Mr. De Leon.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-83 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-83 in title only?
Draft number 2020-83, an ordinance authorizing the certification of non-payment of water use charges, wastewater use charges, stormwater utility charges, and recycling solid waste collection charges to the county auditor in order to allow for the placement of the certified amount on the real property tax list and duplicate against the property for the non-payment of water use charges, wastewater use charges, stormwater utility charges, and recycling solid waste collection charges, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
and Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
and Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-83 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-84 in title only?
Draft number 2020-84, an ordinance authorizing the certification of delinquent mowing bills, property maintenance violations, citations, zoning violations, and health department violations to the county auditor in order to allow for the placement of the certified amount on the real property tax list and duplicate against the property served by the mowing services property maintenance violation citations, zoning violation citations, health department violation citations, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll for suspension.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar.
yes,
Okay, ordinance 2020-84 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-85 in title only?
Draft number 2020-85, an ordinance authorizing the certification of non-payment of bills for residents resulting from the 2019 annual concrete repair program to the county auditor in order to allow for the placement of certified amount of real property tax list and duplicate against the property for the non-payment of sidewalk repairs and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Second by Jack.
Was that Jack? Okay.
Was it
Ms.
Jack?
Schaefer?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
and Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Okay, quiet.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
and Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-85 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-86 in title only?
Draft number 2020-86, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2019-139, the current appropriation ordinance passed December 18th, 2019, so as to adjust appropriations, transfers, and advances from the various funds of the city of Kent to individual accounts for the current expenses of the city for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
and Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
and Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-86 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-87 in title only?
Draft number 2020-87, an ordinance accepting a donation in the amount of $250 to the City of Kent Fire Department from Leslie Tan in the name of Eric Martin and declaring an emergency.
move suspension,
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
yes,
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
yes,
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2020-87 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2020-88 in title only?
Draft number 2020-88, an ordinance accepting a donation in the amount of $500 to the City of Kent Parks and Recreation Department to purchase a weather vane for the downtown gazebo and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll for suspension.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer, Ms. Schaefer, sorry,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Except I think it's a good thing personally, but that's the way I am. Please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
The ordinance 2020-88 has passed.
Okay, that's it for Finance Committee. Do we have any unfinished business? Seeing none? Any new business?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar.
I have two things. I guess you just would ask for the administration to look at this. In the next few months, we're going to be starting the construction project, I believe, on North Water Street, doing the west side of North Water Street first, which I believe will entail the overnight parking permits of the people that park there. So hopefully, before we get to that position, we'll have a solution for a place for them to park. That's all.
You said you had two items, John.
That was the first item.
What's the second one?
I
Okay.
figured that.
The second item, actually, I'd like to make a motion that for the balance of the fiscal year 2020, that the council members take a reduction of 20% of their pay for these last few months.
There a second to that?
Yeah, I'll
Second that.
Second by Gwen. Further discussion, John?
Well, I know the city manager has been doing things to help financially. I know that we're a tight spot with this COVID virus. And, that's a small donation I think we can make. And I just made it for the last few months because this thing's going to get over with. And then we're going to start moving up. But I just think it's the right thing to do.
Gwen?
I think it's appropriate. I think that the city has been very responsible in handling the budget going forward with this pandemic. And I think it's appropriate that council likewise trims 20%, just like our departments heads have done too. So I support it.
Heidi?
I'm against it, and I'll tell you why. Because we fought for years and years. We didn't have an increase since the 1980s. We are the worst paid council in Portage County. We don't get benefits. We work hard, and actually, I've gotten a lot more calls from people. I've been dealing with a lot more issues during this pandemic. feel like I'm earning my money. And I think this is such a drop in the bucket. It's not even really, maybe it's symbolic, but you know, it just seems like if you want to donate your money, do like some of the council people did and donate to things that matter. Like, you know, just what we just voted on. I have donated. I give a lot of my money to charitable causes, to things that make a difference. I just don't see this as making any dent in our budget whatsoever. And, you know.
Any other comment?
I would comment.
She had her hand up, Roger, Robin. Go, Tracy.
I agree with Heidi. I think it should be voluntary and,
Yeah.
and not mandatory.
Is that it, Tracy?
That's it.
Robin?
Yeah, I would parrot what both Heidi and Tracy are saying. I think that first off, I don't know that it does. I know it's a great symbolic statement, and I respect and appreciate that. I think that if in fact a council person would like to do that, then they can do it. It should be a voluntary situation. I don't know necessarily where I am. I know that is something that would impact me significantly. But I may decide to do something maybe a little less than that, but something to contribute. So I respect what John is saying, and I appreciate it. But I have to, I think, support the position of both Heidi and Tracy, and let us act voluntarily to do that. We don't have to make a big to-do out of it. If we choose to do it, we can do that. We can approach the finance director and request that they withhold. If you want to, you can withhold your whole salary. It's what you choose to do. And so we don't have to make a big production out of it. We can just go on and do it.
Is there anybody else?
Yes, this is Hope. Let me do a little bit of research because
I was going to ask that.
Because I know
We're in a motion, Hope. I don't think you can speak either.
Okay, sorry.
We'll talk about this when they pass the motion or whatever they do.
Okay.
Is there anybody on council has further comment? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Maybe we better do a hand count here. Put your hand up if you're
Could
in
you read the
favor.
motion, Mr. Mayor, could you read it motion one time? Or
Amy, read the motion for Mr. Ferrer.
Mr. Kumar made the motion for the balance of fiscal year 2020, the last few months of 2020, for council to take a 20% cut in pay.
All right, Garrett.
yes, thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. I see 1, 2, I see 3. Against the motion?
I'm
1,
against
2,
it,
3,
Mayor.
4. Roger, where'd you have your hand? It was right in between. I asked for the second. Roger.
I was for the motion.
Okay, so Amy is a.
3
What is it?
are for it.
Say that again.
We have Mr. Sidoti, Ms. Rosenberg, and Mr. Cooper are for the motion.
All right. So it does not pass.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Jack.
You know, I personally have no problem with 20% cut, but I'm not going to push it on other people that may not be able to afford it or may not believe in it. So I'm more than glad to get back 20%, but I'm not going to make that decision for the entire council.
Here's my point, and Hope, I'm sure this is something you were going to elaborate on. As you know, you cannot give yourself a raise. You give the next person coming in that office to raise. Now, I don't know if you ever vote to cut your pay, whether you're actually cutting your pay or you're cutting the next person that comes into your office seat. Now, Hope, I guess that's something you have to look into.
And Mayor, thank you. That's what I was going to say. I'm not sure that you can vote yourself a decrease. So I think that Heidi has it right, that if you want to donate money back to the city, you can do that.
I think each and every one of us do something special with our paychecks, and you know what you can afford and what you can't afford. So, well, right now the motion has failed, but I think Hope's right. I don't think you can make this instantly now as a reduction in your pay. You're talking about the next person to take your seat, and it might be you after the next election. I don't know, but you know, if you want to give back, there's a lot of ways in this community to give back, and if you don't know any of them, I got a list.
Yeah. We all do.
All right, is there any more new business? Heidi?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is new business, but I'm just not sure how to handle something. I guess a lot more people are working from home, and so some issues of the neighborhoods are coming up, and people that are driving around making a lot of noise, like playing really loud music, like with their bass way high, and burning out on motorcycles and things like that I never really noticed before, but actually happen pretty frequently. And I've been getting complaints, and you know, I'm just wondering if we actually have an ordinance against
Have
this,
a noise ordinance.
and how would it be enforced? Like, do the police have to observe this event?
That's who you'd call.
But the police have to observe it actually happening. Is that
Well,
correct?
I guess you give them the information and they can trace it back.
Yeah, well,
But you
my
can't
thought is, I'm gonna
Well,
go flag them down and talk to them first.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk, but I can chime in on this a little bit if you'd like.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
That-
Nick.
if you would, thank you.
No, chief.
We do. So there is a city ordinance. The city noise ordinance says that any noise that can be heard 30 feet beyond the right of way is a noise violation, similar to our like a party would be. If the noise goes beyond the property line, it's the same offense. It's the same charge. So it's anything that goes 30 feet beyond the right of way. And additionally, we do have a second ordinance for, you mentioned motorcycles, like squealing their tires. We do have a peel and squeal ordinance as well that's enforceable. In large part, you are right. It would need to be something observed by the officer. That being said, with the noise violation, similar to like a loud party, we can enforce that on your behalf if you're willing to sign a charge against someone for that, as long as we can identify who is making the noise.
Okay, so,
Satisfied, Heidi?
yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, Dave, were you gonna say something? I see your mic went off.
No.
All right. Tracy, you're next.
Yeah, I'd like to make an argument against putting on the third story on the council chambers. So I want to let you know that the old Sparkle Market council chambers were occupied sometime between 1994 and 1995. And then around 20 years later is when we moved out of those. And I believe 20 years later, there was still space for storage. Is that correct, Dave? You guys were not super tight, were you? You're comfortable?
Let me unmute, sorry. Yeah, in terms of storage, functionality was certainly an issue,
Right.
but storage, yes.
Right, storage, you had plenty of room. And remember, we had that other story that was the incubators. So we don't have the incubators now. So those incubators took up 4,800 square feet. Okay, so all in all, the old city council, all the administration and the city council was about 20,000 feet, 20,000 square feet. Okay, and that's including the 4,800 square feet that were the incubators. Okay, the new city hall building is going to be around 24,000 square feet. So first of all, that's 4,000 feet more. And then if you include the incubators, that's almost 9,000 square feet more of space that we have than the old building. And that's plenty of space to expand into. So I don't think we need an extra third floor on that because we have plenty of room to expand. We've got 9,000 square feet still of extra space on the new building. So I think
Mr. Mayor,
Wait, I don't think Tracy's done. Are you done, Tracy? Is that a motion or what?
You mean a motion to not put a third story on?
I'm asking you what you want to do. Wait, Dave,
This is not, we're not going to discuss that now. I thought we were going to come back later and discuss.
okay, all right.
well,
All right.
yeah.
Dave has a hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, that's scheduled for discussion in 2 weeks.
Right. So I
Right.
just want to let everybody know that.
Okay.
And if you want me to send you those figures, I can send you those figures, everybody.
Okay,
And then I have one more thing.
go ahead.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with the book White Fragility, but if you have not read it, please let me know because I'm going to buy everybody a copy of that. And I'm going to try to get the author to have a workshop with us workshop with us if everybody's willing to do that. So if anybody has not read that book, let me know and I'll buy you a copy and give it to you. And then, like I said, I'm going to try to get a workshop with that person.
What's the name of the book?
It's called White Fragility.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if you have not gotten that, if you don't know that book, if you don't have it, let me know and I'll buy you a copy.
All right.
Buy everybody a copy that doesn't have one.
Okay, Roger, did you have your hand up?
Oh, no, Mr. Mayor.
All
I
right.
just talk with my hands. That's the Italian thing.
I know the feeling. All right, John Kuhar.
Yeah, on a note, quick story about a company that kind of pertains to what we're talking about. In the 70s, Amway Corporation built a spectacular building. It was 1.5 miles long. They had a 5,000 square foot room that housed the second largest computer in the United States, second only to the United States government. In 1985, technology had advanced so much that all the world headquarters, all the local United States headquarters, everybody's computer fed a replacement computer for that 5,000 square foot that would fit in a broom closet. It was about 5 by 8 foot. So they were geared up for the future 50 years out in 1970s. And in 1980s, the technology had moved so far ahead that they didn't need anywhere near the space that they needed for those facilities. And they were still 50 years out.
John, that might be information in 2 weeks you ought to bring up.
All right.
Thank you.
Robin, did you have something? Robin.
Yeah, well, it's a little after the fact now, but I was going to suggest that for both Tracy and John, the statements that they're making with items which are in committee and are going to be discussed, they're not future or present. I mean, they're issues that we're going to be discussing in a couple of weeks, that they probably should just delay those statements until that time, which I believe would be much more appropriate to be bringing that to the body for deliberation.
I'm not sure myself, but I think that's what we're doing, Robin.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mayor.
All right. Mike, you lit up. Do you have something?
No, I'll wait till our next meeting.
All right. Anybody else? Council comment?
I just had to speak out because I won't be allowed to in 2 weeks. It'd be a point of order.
You can step down and have your chairperson do it. Councilman comments, anything?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I've been fairly pleased in the last couple of weeks in the way people have been somewhat attentive to the mask laws, and I see the numbers are finally, at least some of them are starting to dribble down a little bit. And I think if we would just all talk to the people that we know to say this doesn't always appear in the bars and the restaurants, but these things that you do to stay safe, should be carried around the home too. And sooner or later we could whip this dog.
Anybody else? Okay, on the mayor's, go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, I must say that for the most part, I'm pretty pleased with the mask wearing that people are doing. There's still a lot of people that wearing incorrect masks. They have these ones that have the vents on them. And they have this one woman I saw the other day at the post office. She had a little, I don't know if you know Home Improvement or not, but remember the neighbor that had the fence across his face? It was like that, except it was like, it was plastic. It was clear plastic. It was not a mask. And she had like a little fence in front of her house. I mean, in front of her mouth. So that was kind of odd. And so they're kind of wearing unusual things. And then I'm also concerned about Kent State coming back. The freshmen are going to start moving in here. And I know that they're required on campus to wear masks, but I've been seeing a lot of students wandering around town in groups, close packed groups without masks and things like that. So I'm a little concerned that our numbers might start spiking with the students coming back. What are our numbers right now? Is Joan still here? Nope, she's gone. Okay. I was just curious what our numbers were right now.
We can find that out, Dave. Can't we, Dave?
Because I know I had asked previously to have the numbers with the monthly reports, like we have a police monthly report. And I've tried to find them on the health website. I have no idea where to find them.
Yeah, we'll get that to you because Joan keeps those like daily, and she reported on Wednesday. It was today is Wednesday, so it was this morning. We had a unified command telephone call, and she ran through all the numbers. Kent, I want to say, was around 110 cases. I think that's a cumulative total.
Yeah.
So it's since the beginning. And the one nice thing, if there is a nice thing, there's been no deaths in Kent. So that's not true in most places. So fingers crossed. But you're right, and please know, we are in daily and multiple times a day conversations with Kent State, doing everything we can to get the word out there, to get as much compliance as we can. It's hard. You're absolutely right. It's hard.
Hey, that 110 cases, is that Kent or is that our zip code 44240?
That's a question. I bet it's the zip code, but
Well,
Joan
then-
would know. Joan would know.
All right, then we're including Franklin Township and everybody else around us. Ross, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I started back at the Wellness Center when it opened up, and I have to say, I feel really safe there. They are requiring masks. You must wear the mask correctly. You don't have to wear it when you're doing strenuous exercise, but I have to tell you, I have decided to go at 6 in the morning, and there are only about 4 people there, so I feel much safer.
I'm going to take your
I'm
word
not
for
going
it.
at
I'm not going to show up at 6 to count for it. So I'll take your word for it.
Roger?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, and I thought they did some nice coverage on the students moving into Kent State on the television. And what was really nice to see is that parents who were helping the kids themselves, they were all wearing masks. So I think that, you know, I still want to believe that modeling is important. And I think it was great that, you know, the coverage that Kent State got with the students moving in, that everyone in, you know, in the video, they were all wearing masks. And I think that's good. That kind of sends a message.
On that topic, I was downtown on 8:30, and the lines in front of the bars were lines in front of the bars. There was no social distancing, and there was no, they weren't wearing masks. I'm sure when they went in, they had to put a mask on or not, but I think that's something we're going to have to, you know, educate them that this is not appropriate right now. Tracy, you have more?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, good for Kent State, the campus, because if the students are caught not wearing a mask, they get severely punished for it. I think they might even get suspended, but I'm sure that's a lot of it. On campus, they're very good about that, and the students are very good about wearing their masks on campus.
Super.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Go, Robin.
Yeah, I also wanted to acknowledge the passing of Kelvin Berry. I don't know if everyone knew that he passed away this last week.
I didn't know that.
And I acknowledge Kelvin as a good man, a godly man that was a great associate from the university to the city of Kent, and he will be missed. And just wanted to acknowledge him.
Robin.
When did that happen, Robin?
I believe on the 12th.
Mhm.
His funeral was today, I think.
Okay.
Over in there.
Anybody else? Under the mayor's
Wait,
report, I wrote,
yes, yes.
Tracy's got her hand.
Tracy.
Yeah,
I
I was just
one of
saying,
these days,
did he live long enough to see Kamala Harris nominated for the vice presidency? Because that's his candidate that he would supported for president. He really liked her.
Oh, really? I don't know. He died on the 12th, so he may have been able to see that.
No, I don't think so.
Last couple of weeks, he was pretty much in complete hospice care. Really was just, hanging on with drugs until his body finally gave out. So probably not.
That's sad.
anybody else? Okay, under the mayor's report, I wanted to say, they didn't have the real Discover Kent this year with the students come in, but if you want to, go downtown, walk around, and introduce yourself to the students. They're still coming down and they're still looking what Kent has to offer. And, but go downtown and, introduce yourself at a safe distance with your mask on. But, it isn't the usual Discover downtown Kent as the chamber in Main Street has done in the past. But, it's like everything else. We're trying to make things work and we got to do the best we can. With that said, I'm done. There's nothing else. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Have a nice week.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
See you in 2 weeks.